The year is 1970. A 15-metre-long sperm whale weighing in at 7,300 kilograms, that's 16,000 pounds, became beached in Florence, Oregon. It was already dead on arrival. RIP in pieces, gone too soon.
Gone too soon, sweet
I
prince.
feel like Brad knows where this is going.
Yeah, I already know.
Now, this caused a problem for the city of Florence. The whale was fucking huge, and while it had entertained the locals for a day or two, the novelty was starting to wear off, and the stench was becoming unbearable.
It would be.
The Highway Division of the Oregon Department of Transportation was in charge of beaches, for some inexplicable reason, so they were responsible for disposing of the beast. That's right, if you want a job done well, get the government involved, and specifically the Department of Transportation. Specifically the Department of Transportation, whose members are known for being intelligent and ultra-efficient. To be fair, though, they did their due diligence and investigated all options. They couldn't bury the whale where it was because it was too big. The sand would erode during the season storms, and the dead whale, which already stunk like shit, would be back, stinkier than ever.
Yeah.
They couldn't move it higher up the beach to bury it, for fear that it would fall apart during transport.
Ugh.
They decided it was too big to burn, plus the odour was already
Jesus
unbearable.
Christ.
Imagine what a flaming
Why
wreck...
was that an option?
Well, that's what they do, apparently, a lot of the time.
Really? Okay.
The odour was already unbearable. Imagine what a flaming wreck of guts and rotten fresh flesh would smell like.
Ugh.
Smell like barbecue.
But while they strategized, gas was building up inside this Leviathan.
Oh, no.
It was a ticking time bomb.
Oh. They should have just got the Japanese over to eat it. Mug on that bitch.
That's racist.
So the Highway Division were left with little recourse. George Thornton, an engineer overseeing the matter, made his decision. We have to blow this motherfucker up.
What?
Yeah.
Look, it's the only way. We'll shove a bunch of dynamite under the whale and blast it into tiny pieces.
Alright, I take it back. Burn it. That's a better idea. I thought that was the ridiculous thing.
So most of it will disintegrate and the rest
no.
of it will be shot back out to sea
Oh, no.
because of the way we position the dynamite.
Okay.
Then those little bits that are left over, floating in the ocean, will be eaten by seagulls, crabs, and other scavengers. Easy peasy.
Yep. Flawless plan. Foolproof.
Yeah.
So how much dynamite do we need? Well, the US Navy said they can give us 1,000 pounds of dynamite.
Holy
so let's just
shit.
use that.
What the fuck?
Are you sure about that, George? Should we consult an explosives expert? No, it's fine. You can't have too much dynamite. It's not a problem if it disintegrates too much.
Good God.
The more dynamite, the less whale will be left over to deal with. Let's use all 1,000 pounds, 450 kilograms. Let's fucking do it.
It's a small car full of dynamite. Oh, shit.
Well, what would you know? Walter
Lachlan's lost.
Lachlan's gone.
It's so ridiculous. This isn't real. This is a cartoon.
Yeah. They had to unpack it from the Acme crate.
What would you know? Walter Umenhofer, a World War II veteran with explosives training.
That's a made-up name. Fuck off.
Hoffer? I don't know. Umenhofer. Let's go. Walter Umenhofer, a World War II veteran with explosives training, a real-life explosives expert, just happened to be in the area and thought he'd chip in his 2 cents. This is way too much fucking dynamite, he said. You have 20 cases, you only need about 20 sticks. You're using 100 times too much dynamite. This guy's an actual World War II veteran who worked with explosives in the war. Like, he knows what he's talking
They're
about.
like,
Get
fuck
out of
up,
here, old man.
Umenhofer. Yeah. That's not even a real name. Fuck you.
It sounds like the enemy, doesn't
Yeah.
he? Umenhofer.
He does.
Now, let me ask you a question. If you had 450 kilograms of dynamite at your disposal, at your disposal and needed to blow up a 7-ton whale, would you use 4 kilograms of dynamite and give the other 446 kilograms back to those snot-nosed punks in the Navy? Of course you wouldn't.
No, that's fair, actually.
Yeah.
That's fair. I'd use as much as I can get my hands on.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be a shit show, but it's going to be glorious.
I'm not the government, though.
So Thornton said, "Get fucked, bozo. We're blowing this bitch sky high, and there's nothing you can do about it, soldier boy." George Thornton forced everybody to move back 400 metres, well and truly out of the anticipated blast zone.
Not far enough.
Walt Umenhofer decided that 400 metres wasn't enough and told a reporter on the scene that he would be the guy standing the farthest away. The dynamite was set, the onlookers were safely back. It was time to light this cetacean up like the 4th of July. You know, guys, sand has this habit of moving when explosives go off. So while the dynamite was originally positioned to blow the whale back out towards sea, the blast funneled a hole in the sand underneath the whale, and therefore quite a bit of the dynamite was exploded directly beneath the whale. Perfectly positioning the blast to send the debris in all directions, not just back out to sea.
You've killed Lachlan.
Can't believe that. So ridiculous.
Blood, guts, and rotting flesh rained down from the
So stupid.
Blood, guts, and rotting flesh rained down from the sky in the most disgusting hailstorm imaginable.
Good lord.
I like to think this incident inspired Slayer's classic song "Raining Blood," but even this incident might be too gruesome for the famous thrash metal band.
Look how red Lachlan's gone.
I can't deal with this. This isn't real.
It turns out the anticipated blast zone was a little underestimated given how the dynamite moved. Gawking locals had to dodge giant chunks of rail falling out of the sky,
Oh, Jesus.
but they couldn't avoid being hit by blood and tiny pieces of whale. The incident was covered by a local news team who filmed the blast. Chunks of whale can be seen falling from the sky, and terrified locals can be heard panicking and
Oh,
running
no.
around.
Can I see this on YouTube?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Oh,
You can say it.
sweet Jesus.
I don't know if you can handle it, mate. You're just hearing about it. It's fucking always parachute.
I'm okay.
Now, every person who came to watch that day at the beach got completely covered in blood and small particles of dead whale,
Ugh.
but fortunately, no one was seriously injured. They were all smelling to high heaven, they were disgusting and disgusted, but all physically healthy. However, while humans could dodge the falling flesh, inanimate objects had to sit there and take it.
Oh, no.
The parking lot, over 400 metres, a quarter of a mile from where the whale was packed with cars
Oh, no.
and of the people who came to spend a lazy morning on the dunes hoping to see a dead whale get blasted back out towards sea. Many cars were hit with masses of rotting guts and flesh and sustained minor damage.
Jesus.
But one car in particular, a brand new Oldsmobile,
Oh, no.
had its roof caved in and all of its windows blasted out when it was struck by a piece of whale about the size of a refrigerator.
Oh, the dynamite will disintegrate.
It's such a large piece of whale. 400
That's an
meters.
expensive
Holy
car, too.
shit.
Yeah,
Ugh.
it was a brand new Oldsmobile,
Yeah.
and like you can see it in the video. You can see it. It's like the top is just completely
Oh, no.
caved in, and all the windows are being blasted out. And ironically enough, this car belonged to the only man who knew this explosion was a bad idea.
Oh,
no.
no. Oh, that poor
It was
bastard.
Walter Uvenhofer's brand new Oldsmobile.
Oh, no.
And believe it or not, I don't think Lachlan's actually going to believe this, but believe it or not, he had just recently purchased this car at Dunham Oldsmobile in Eugene, Oregon, during a sale the dealership had marketed
No.
with the slogan,
No.
"Get a whale of a deal on a new Oldsmobile."
That is not true. You're making that up.
I know it's crazy, but as Superman always says,
Unbelievable? Believe it.
Is that Dean Cain?
yeah, Superman himself.
Good God.
Ugh.
That is That is... You made that up.
So the thing is, I wouldn't believe him either if I hadn't seen the video already. Like, I've seen it on YouTube, and that whale, it fucks that car up. It is insane. And everyone is so fucking excited for it, and it just goes south.
I couldn't believe that it was his car. It's just so crazy that it was that guy's car.
Mm.
The only guy who said,
It
let's not do
almost
this.
makes you believe in a god.
Well, there was actually a similar situation. Actually, not similar, but in 2004 in Tainan, in Taiwan, a giant sperm whale, so similarly, a sperm whale, spontaneously exploded in the middle of the city as it was being transported on the back of a truck to be studied.
Oh, no.
It covered the whole street in blood and guts, hitting bystanders, shop fronts, and vehicles. Now, unfortunately, there's no video of the incident, but photographs of the aftermath are pretty telling. There's a white car which is turned almost entirely red from blood, and a scooter that just has these giant intestines wrapped around it, and there's
gross.
blood everywhere on the street. Apparently, it was the worst smell imaginable and took forever to clean it up.
How bad of a day is that? Like, if you're the guy driving the truck, you're like, you look back, you see the whale explodes,
Just keep driving.
guts everywhere. Do you
Don't
just,
even stop.
You're like, how do I explain? Because it's not his fault. You know,
No.
he's just been paid. He's a fucking wage cuck.
You keep driving, you get to the other end, and you just go, oh, shit, it must have fallen off. I didn't
Thought I popped a
notice.
tire.
Yeah. That's just a shitty day thing because everyone hates him. They see him driving the truck. It's his fault.
I think it's probably a worse day for the people who got fucking slimed by this whale exploding.
Yeah, but they're coming after the driver there. That's what I mean.
You know, you've been at your shitty job all day. It's been a really shit day. Your boss has been riding your ass all day. You forgot your lunch at home, so you haven't eaten anything. And you're driving home in your piece of shit car to your wife who's going to fucking scream at you because you're not home enough, and your kids who fucking just scream all night, and you never get any fucking sleep. And a whale just explodes on you.
Where did this stop being about Taiwan?
I was going to say, mate, is this something you want to talk about? Or?
No, I love my family.
I'd love it more if they were dead, though.
I quite like my job as well.
But, you know, this kind of thing happens, you know, that gas builds up inside dead whales and can eventually make them explode if the circumstances are correct. So if you want to see whales exploding, you can go on YouTube and find a compilation video. There's a great video of a guy who's cutting into a whale, and he must have hit something while he was cutting into it. He probably pierces the stomach or something, because there's just this giant explosion of blood and guts just spewing out really hard and fast.
Yeah.
It's very gross, but it's also very cool.
I was actually about to say, couldn't they just, like, to stop it exploding, just puncture a bunch of holes in it so the gas can escape?
I think that...
I guess you have to do that. You have to do that before the gas starts collecting, though, I
I was
suppose.
going to say, I think that they're, like, under a certain amount of pressure anyway, so if you cut into it, like, it's not a quick thing either to cut into it, but I feel like if you cut into it, it forces its way out anyway. There's a certain amount of internal pressure to begin with. Like, I remember sick because I've seen this video before, and I was like, why can't they just, like, do this shit? And apparently they're really quite hard to get rid of. Like, big whales, when they wash up like that, they're just a pain to deal with.
You know what is probably the worst plan to get rid of it, though? Fucking blow it up with 1,000 pounds of dynamite.
I think if you had, like, shaped charges or something like that, that would be fine, but the loose dynamite just sitting under it is probably is a rookie mistake there. It's funny that you were mentioning the truck and the guts and everything. I kind of, not personal experience, but I have a bit of a story there. It's probably someone who listens to this podcast, actually, so this will be a little fun fact. Not sure if he still does, but used to drive offal, you know, like blood and guts and stuff from butchers.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yep, okay. Not going to mention names, no names, anonymous here. But
He knows who he is.
Yeah, he knows who he is. I think he was driving the M1, so the main road between Geelong and Melbourne, and a car pulled out in front of him, and he had a truck full of this contents, and he slammed the brakes to avoid hitting the car and dumped the entire contents on the M1. Shut down the highway for like 4 hours or something like that. And this is the main road between Geelong and Melbourne.
Yeah.
He, on the other hand, finished his load, dropped off, and got home and was like, had a shit day. I remember hearing about it on the radio, messaged him and said, God, that's a shit day for someone. And then he said...
It was him.
He goes, fuck off. And I'm like, oh, what, was it actually you? And he's like, oh, I thought you were just ripping on me.
Oh, no.
So, yeah.
Oh, shit.
That's why I was like, it's got to suck to be the driver there, because he was stopping for a car that pulled out in front of him.
Yeah, it wasn't his fault.
But they just kept driving. He dumped the contents of the road and ruined, 100,000 people's day.
It would have been less of a mess if he had have just killed the person in the car.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, Brad, that just sounds awful. Really.
I think someone made that joke to him like the next day. They said, I heard you had an awful day yesterday.
I'm sure it was the headline in the Geelong Addy the next day. They love their
probably.
puns.
Oh, it should have been.
But yeah, no, that's quality. You know who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you Google exploding whale, some of the results are this incident in Oregon in 1970, and then the other results are, this is the science behind why whales explode when they're on the beach. But it is actually the case that they do burn whales quite often. I was looking up how they dispose of whales. If they're small enough, you can just burn them, and then it just floats up into the atmosphere, I guess. But otherwise, you bury them or you drag them back out to sea and do something to make them sink or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Guessing that, if you get them back in the water far enough out, that would be fine, because,
It's got to be pretty far, though, otherwise they just get beached again.
But the issue is, I guess, if you try to, tug them out and you've got, I don't know, a chain or something wrapped around them, you just, sheath them,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you've got
anyway,
a bigger problem.
I want to finish my section today by paying respect to the newsman who covered this story. What an absolute lad he was. He filmed the explosion and he made it into one hell of a story. So, just listen to this clip I'm about to get Lachlan to play. It's brilliant wordplay and alliteration. He is the Kanye West of reporters, a fucking lyrical wordsmith.
The sand dunes there were covered with spectators and landlubber newsmen, shortly to become land blubber newsmen. The blast blasted blubber beyond all believable bounds.
That was very well done.
Brilliant.
Very well done.
Alliteration, wordplay.
That man should be writing headlines.
Soon to be land blubber.
Fantastic.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. But you can actually see in the video. I'll link the video because I might as well, and Lachlan can watch it as well. But you can actually see when they explode it. You can see what are clearly giant chunks of whale just separating. It's just refrigerator-sized chunks of whale. Yeah. Ridiculous.